Here's something that stopped me cold when I first read it. A study followed over 72,000 real people. Not athletes, not fitness models. Just ordinary people for more than a decade. Half of them were going to the gym regularly. The other half just walked. And when the researchers looked at the data, the results genuinely surprised them. Because the group that simply walked, no weights, no treadmill sprints, no gym membership, they were doing almost as well across nearly every health marker: heart health, body weight, even how long they lived. So today, we're going to go through exactly what this research found, why it matters, and by the end, I'll give you a simple formula that outperforms both approaches on their own. No gimmicks, just what the science actually says. But before we get into the science, I want to tell you about two people. The first is a guy. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus was serious about his health. He hit the gym 4 days a week. He tracked his meals, took his protein, did the whole thing right. 3 months in, almost nothing had changed. Same weight, roughly the same body, and honestly, he was exhausted. Then there's his neighbor, a woman named Diane. Diane never set foot in a gym. What she did do every single morning was walk. 45 minutes, coffee in hand, her dog alongside her. She'd been doing it for 2 years. When Marcus finally looked at Diane, really looked, she'd lost over 20 pounds. Her doctor had taken her off a blood pressure medication, and she just looked healthy. Now, here's the question that drove me into the research. What was going on there? Because Marcus was working so much harder. How was Diane winning? Let's talk about what your body is actually doing when you exercise, because most people have this completely backwards. When you do intense exercise, heavy lifting, hard cardio, anything that gets your heart rate really high, your body taps into its fast fuel source first. That's glycogen. Essentially stored sugar. It's quick to access, and your body loves using it when things get intense. Fat burning, that comes later. And here's the thing most people don't know. Your body only starts pulling from fat stores in a serious way once it's been moving at a lower intensity for a sustained period. That's the zone where walking lives. One study found that during low-intensity walking, up to 60% of the energy your body burns is coming directly from fat. Compare that to high-intensity cardio, where that number drops to around 35%, because your body is leaning on sugar instead. So Diane wasn't just strolling. Her body was in fat-burning mode for 45 minutes every single morning. That adds up in a way that's genuinely hard to replicate inside a gym. And it gets more interesting. Intense exercise triggers something called cortisol, your stress hormone. In small amounts, totally fine. But when cortisol stays elevated, your body actually holds on to fat. It's a survival response. Your system thinks you're in danger, and it starts conserving energy. Marcus was going too hard, too often, without enough recovery. His cortisol levels were probably elevated most of the week. His body wasn't in a state where it wanted to let go of anything. Now, before you cancel your gym membership, I have to tell you something important. Because the gym has an advantage that walking simply cannot match. And it's a big one. Muscle. When you build muscle through resistance training, you're essentially installing a higher-powered engine into your body. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive, meaning it burns calories just to exist, even when you're sitting still, even while you sleep. Research suggests that each pound of muscle you carry burns somewhere around 50 additional calories per day at rest, doing absolutely nothing. That might not sound like much, but add 5 or 10 pounds of lean muscle over a few months of consistent training, and suddenly your body is burning hundreds of extra calories every single day, without you doing a thing. Walking cannot do that. No matter how many steps you take, if you're not doing some form of resistance training, you're leaving that metabolic advantage on the table. So here's where we actually land. This isn't a competition. The people who made the research authors raise their eyebrows weren't the gym goers, and they weren't the walkers. It was the people who found a way to do both, intelligently. There was one combination in the data that outperformed every other group in fat loss, cardiovascular health, and longevity markers. And I want to show you exactly what that looked like. But first, there's one mistake I need to warn you about, because it's the reason most people never get there. So, what's the mistake? And why is it affecting so many people who are genuinely trying? Think about a typical week for someone who's motivated. Monday, gym. Tuesday, gym. Wednesday feels like a rest day, but they feel guilty and go anyway. Thursday, gym. Friday, gym. Weekend, long run both days to stay consistent. Every single day their body is in recovery mode. Cortisol is elevated. Their muscles are constantly being broken down and rebuilt. The body never gets a chance to drop into a calm, low-intensity, fat-burning state. It is always in emergency mode, always on. Research calls this overreaching. It is not overtraining in the dramatic clinical sense. It is too much intensity, too often, with no low-effort movement woven in between. The result is a body that is tired, inflamed, and holding on to fat as a protective mechanism. They also produce diminishing returns no matter how hard they push. The irony is that the people working the hardest often get the worst results. Not because they are lazy, but because their body is overwhelmed. Marcus was trapped in this exact pattern. Without knowing it, he was making his metabolism less efficient over time. The fix is not to work harder. The fix is to work smarter and to let walking do what it does best. Here's what the data actually points to. A combination that outperformed every other group. 3 days a week in the gym. Not 5 or 6, but 3. Focus on resistance training with compound movements, enough intensity to build muscle, and enough rest to recover. 2 days a week of walking, not as a consolation, but as a deliberate, strategic choice. Make walking your fat-burning days. Aim for 7,000 to 10,000 steps at a comfortable pace. 1 complete rest day, no activity, and no guilt. This is where the body rebuilds, cortisol drops, and muscle repair happens. That is the whole formula. 3, 2, 1. When tracked in research, participants saw around 35% better fat loss than gym-only groups. Cardiovascular markers improved by nearly 28% more than the walking-only group. Most importantly, consistency was dramatically higher because the schedule is maintainable. So, who won? The gym or the 10,000 steps? Honestly, neither on their own, and that is the most useful answer science gave us. The two things work better together than either does alone. The gym builds muscle and raises resting metabolism while changing body shape over time. Walking burns fat efficiently, keeps stress hormones low, supports the heart, and is sustainable long-term. They are not competing. They are complementary, and treating them that way changes results. Diane was doing one half of the formula by accident, and Marcus was doing the other half too often without recovery. Neither of them had the full picture, and now you do. One last thing. The best exercise plan is the one you will still be doing 6 months from now. Not the hardest or most impressive one, but the most sustainable. If walking gets you out of the house every morning, that is a real, science-backed strategy. If you love the gym, keep going, but let walking work alongside it and give your body 1 full day of recovery each week. If you found this useful, drop a comment and tell me if you're a gym person, a walker, or just getting started. Thanks for watching True Health Tales, and if this helped you, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss the next truth.